It began not under the blinding stadium lights, but in a quiet corner of the Dodgers clubhouse, after the season had ended, when the cheers had faded, and the champagne had long dried from the walls. The cameras were gone, but the truth remained. Mookie Betts sat silently, elbows on his knees, his eyes staring into the ground. Across the room, Mike Trout leaned back in his chair, lost in thought. Between them, the name, Shohei Ohtani, hung in the air like something sacred. People see the home runs, the fastballs, the headlines. But they don't see this. They don't see what Ohtani did to the hearts of the players around him. Because behind every award, behind every swing that shattered records, there was a quiet kind of power, not just in his bat, but in his spirit. When Ohtani walked into that clubhouse for the first time in blue and white, he wasn't just joining a team. He was stepping into a world of giants, Betts, Freeman, Kershaw, men who had already built legacies. But something changed when he arrived. It wasn't the way he played. It was the way he carried himself. Calm, respectful, relentless. Every day, first to arrive, last to leave. Never a word too loud, never an excuse too soft. Mookie remembered it well, that morning in spring training. The reporters swarmed Ohtani. Cameras flashing. A storm of attention that could crush anyone. But when Mookie walked past, Shohei simply smiled, nodded, and went back to his drills. "He's built different," Mookie whispered that day. He didn't realize how true those words would become. Then came the season. A grind that would test every ounce of strength they had. Games where they trailed deep into the night, fans restless, cameras waiting for another headline. And time and again, Ohtani stood in the middle of it, quiet, focused, unshakable. He didn't talk about pressure. He absorbed it. Like a storm, he took it all in and turned it into energy. There was that game in early June, the one that changed everything. Bottom of the ninth. 2 outs. The Dodgers down by 2. Betts on second, Freeman on first. The crowd roaring. And Ohtani stepped to the plate. The count went full. Fastball high. Slider low. And then, a sound that would echo through the summer, crack. The ball disappeared into the night sky, a comet streaking over the outfield fence. Walk off. Pandemonium. Mookie said later, "I didn't even run. I just watched. I watched the man who never flinches." But what the fans didn't know, what even the reporters didn't see, was the pain Ohtani carried that night. The quiet limp in his stride. The shoulder wrapped in ice before the game. He had no business swinging that hard, but he did it anyway. Because the team needed him. Trout, watching from afar in Anaheim, felt it too. For years, he had shared a dugout with Ohtani, watched him push through things that would have broken anyone else. He never wanted the spotlight, Trout said in a whisper once. He just wanted the chance to earn it. When the Silver Slugger announcements came, nobody was surprised. Third straight year, third straight season of impossible consistency. But the ceremony wasn't what made it special. It was what happened afterward. Reporters gathered around Mookie and Trout. They expected smiles, quotes about dominance and records. But instead, they got something else, emotion. Mookie's voice cracked. "You don't understand," he said, eyes glistening. "This guy, he carried us. Every time I thought I was tired, every time I thought I couldn't give more, I'd look at Shohei. And he was already there. Lifting, running, smiling, like pain didn't exist." Trout nodded slowly beside him. "He supported me more than anyone. Even when I was injured, even when the world forgot about me, he didn't. Shohei sent me messages after every game. Not about baseball, about life. About fighting through it. About believing there's still another sunrise waiting. It wasn't about numbers anymore. It wasn't about home runs or ops or war. It was about the quiet humanity that Shohei Ohtani brought to a sport that often forgets it. The man who spoke little, but meant everything. Mookie told one story that broke everyone's hearts. Late in the season, when Ohtani's elbow injury flared again, he refused to leave the dugout. Trainers begged him. Coaches insisted. But Shohei stayed, towel over his shoulder, chart in hand, whispering advice to every batter who came up. When Betts grounded out in the 8th, Ohtani just smiled and said, "Next one. You'll get it." That's what leaders do. They don't shout. They shine quietly, from within. And so, when Ohtani stood on that stage with his third Silver Slugger trophy, the applause wasn't just for his bat. It was for the unseen, for the endless hours, the humility, the way he made everyone around him better. Even his rivals. As the night ended, Mookie leaned over and said something only the microphones barely caught. "He's not just the best player I've ever seen," he said softly. "He's the best teammate I've ever had." Trout's voice trembled. "He reminded me why I fell in love with this game. And for a moment, just a moment, two of the game's greatest couldn't hold back tears. Because this wasn't about Shohei Ohtani, the superstar. It was about Shohei Ohtani, the soul of baseball. The man who turned silence into strength. The man who carried not just his team, but the spirit of everyone who's ever dreamed with a bat in their hands. As the lights dimmed and the crowd's echo faded into the night, Ohtani looked up toward the rafters, toward the stars that seemed just a little closer now. No words. Just a small, grateful smile. And somehow, everyone watching knew, this was more than a season. This was a legacy being written, one swing, one heart at a time.